Greetings, fellow mechanics. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, episode 36. Finally, Fabrication. Alright, I'm going to create a new copy of Close. And this will be Axios. The Axios zone is going to include the corpse pile. Oops. And behind the walls, not include that zone. There we go. So is everyone... Yeah, we're back on wood mining. I think I'm going to force Fish, Pick, and Cardinal to do a little extra mining because we're almost out of spare wood for the arc. And browning out would be really bad. Okay, Fish, Pick, over here, please. And then, once it's warmer, I'll go and clean up the siege site. It's simply too cold to go down there and not die in the process. Okay, so we are having a wood delivery, and power is now normalized. Good. I'm going to keep the grow light off until all the planters are grown, or sown, I should say. And our wood supply is going back up. We have enough iron and coal for one more batch of steel, bringing our steel up to 30, I think? Yep, 330. I'll just keep a very close eye to make sure that we keep the arc well supplied. I'll probably just build up a lot of wood supply right now. Wishbringer wants to change looks. Oh, you know what? I hadn't considered. I see. So maybe what I'll try to do is to make a slightly cheaper, like, iron styling station. Because a full-on steel one is rather pricey. So once our arc supply of wood is back up to a more normal amount, I'll go back to iron mining for that. So we're back up to like 2 days and change. That was pretty quick. Having 2 capable miners, very, very nice. And then one was work-driven. Not anymore, but was at the time. Come on, Zeusin. Oh, Zeusin should be on the Zeus zone. Right. Have I heard of Dwarf Fortress before? Yes. I've played it multiple times on my channel, in fact. I'm not an expert at it, though. It's one of those games you need like 1,000 hours in it to be really good at it. And I'm certainly not 1,000 hours in. But I like it. For whatever it's worth. Alright, back to iron. So I'm going to get the drill going. And then get the heaters up there going. Running this, this mining wing is a lot of power, right? It's like 175 per heater plus the, 200 per drill? So it's useful to remember that, like, mining coal and mining iron is pretty power expensive. Nighthawk, thank you for the resub. And we're pretty close on fabrication. My intention, once we get fabrication, is to go advanced fabrication. They kind of go hand in hand. But getting a fabrication bench up ASAP is going to be a big one. Cheers. Good. So Cardinal's new in the iron now. So we have a workshop. I'm going to update the priority now to prepare for fabrication. And the huge advantage of fabrication, to state the obvious, is we, at the moment, have a finite amount of components. Luckily, it's a lot of components, thanks to all the siege sites. But it has been dwindling, and I have been hesitant in adding more heaters and other things that require components like auto doors or hydroponic basins, because... or upgrading the wood-fired arc, because we wouldn't have a replenishable amount of components. So getting fabrication allows us to replenish our components amount, given that we have access to both iron and coal for steel. And that should expand our options for weapons, for armor, for things that we construct, workshop, etc. So I'm eager for all of it. Oh boy. Hey Zeusin. Oh, that sucks. You better run. So it's cold, but it's not quite like the cold is going to stop the breacher's cold. So, yeah, here we go again. I'm going to turn off the mining tunnels for power. Fish pick is hustling down. Actually, Zeusin, hold up there for a second. He's got one of the longer range weapons. I'm going to start plinking at the... Oh, right in the head. Right in the jaw. Start plinking at the grenadiers. Ouch! Could have done without that. So I'm trying to punch their grenadiers out, or shoot their grenadiers out, so they can't just bomb the hell out of us. There goes one. And then we can sort of kite and fight the others. Okay, there goes the other. Zeusin should go to cover, and then the rest of this group fall back, because we bought ourselves a little bit of time. We can start taking the fight at range, because they won't be able to get into the base quickly. JD, let's have you go tend Zeusin, and everyone else fall back to the wall. So now that they have no weapons that go through walls quickly, I can play for time knowing that I can always replace walls. Oh, this guy has an anchor. Not the most effective weapon, though. Madsen, was that gunshot to the heart? Holy god. Alright, to cover, guys. You're getting shot. They got bored with the walls and started shooting Axios and Madsen. Axios took so many... Axios just got shot like 5 times with like almost no line of sight on the enemies. So he's super bleeding. I think the best thing I could do right now is to uninstall the bed so it doesn't, it's not like a valid target. Although I don't know if Wishbringer can get there in time. But he's gonna risk it. Nope, I don't think it's worth it. Never mind. Fall back. I'm going to see if cold can take them down. So they're breachers, so they're just going to continue hitting walls between me and them. And what I was hoping to do is to wound them enough to slow them down enough so that we could buy ourselves time. Because they're more or less ignoring all the infrastructure here. So I'm just going to continue like trying to out-repair them as they break in. Fishpick, where are you now? Okay. Because they're pretty well geared. Let's fall back. They're getting through there. As far as hypothermia goes, it's climbing for like all of them, so we just need a delay. Especially given the injuries that we have already sustained. Oh, shoot. Ganked Axios and triggered the collapse. And the problem is, the body here is gonna allow them in. So let's move that body really quick. Alright, I'm gonna send Zeus in somewhere warm. With that wall gone, I'm gonna... Oh, that's a lot of flake. I'm gonna let them just, like, poke at our walls while we turtle, knowing that, bleeds and hypothermia will be more effective than physically fighting them, I think. Alright. Everyone behind the walls for zoning. Alright, they're fleeing. Yep, I'm just waiting them out, because it's negative 82 out. So, for Fishpick and Cardinal, they're obviously going to need a lot of the walls repaired, so that they can not freeze to death. So for now, I'm going to... a Fishpick. So zoning is going to be close. And they're going to start repairing the walls. The beds survived. Yeah, they were breachers. They were aiming for beds. They weren't sappers, which is a bit different. So Madsen needs medical attention. But yeah, that's happening. Okay, it is super ridiculously gross in here, thanks to all the bodies on the ground. But we're now airtight, technically. Tom, are you... I mean, you're not a terrible recruit, but I'm not gonna bother anyway. Just drop you outside. Oh, you died in my arms. Zeus, and that was your bolty. Oh, you're gonna freeze to death. Get inside. Alright, it's not warm enough in there, so get somewhere warmer. Cardinal, you too. Axios still has some open wounds. JD will be tended by Axios. And then the inverse. All right, well that was nasty, but it could have been worse. Oh, look at you, nimble and tough. What a good combo. It's too bad you're like dead in seconds. I would have potentially wanted to add them as yet another member. I should be more careful about checking the bodies once the fight's over. Well, we'll make a recovery. The room's already enclosed. Zeusson just got another inspiring creativity, and I think I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Another heavy SMG. I think that's pretty reasonable. So let's do another prediction. Quality of the SMG, Masterwork Plus or not Masterwork Plus? What y'all think? Her skill is still 12, FYI. With Axios wounded enough that he's kind of out of commission, I'm going to take the corpse restriction off. Because everybody's seen corpses. It's been really grisly. So I don't really need to protect them from seeing corpses. The mood penalties are already active, as far as I'm concerned. I might as well drag the bodies out of the base. Hospital probably needs to be powered up if we're going to be using it. I'm going to turn off the individual benches so we don't burn our power. There. Ooh. Food, too. Aren't pilgrims unaffected by corpses anymore? True. In fact, with that in mind, I might want to redesign the zoning. Let's say... I'm gonna just redesign it from scratch. So behind the walls is behind the walls. That one makes sense, right? It's stay behind the walls so you're safe. Then I'm gonna want a close stalwarts. Let's try to get a good color for stalwarts. Yeah, there we go. That's like a purpley stalwart color. So close stalwarts is going to be close to the base without corpse pile access. It will also include the mining tunnels, which I'm going to count as close because they are heated, or normally heated. So that's the close stalwarts zone, keeping them away from the corpse stockpile. And then we have close... I'm just going to copy this and try for a blue. That's a bluish. And this is going to be close pilgrims. And it's going to include the corpses. Done. And then I'm going to have someone like Pierogi grab Molotovs and clear corpses rather than just have it be Axios. Oh, yeah, I didn't actually assign the zoning. There we go. I was like, how did you just get a mood modifier? Oh, yeah, because you're a stalwart. Oopsie poopsie. I am keeping an eye on everyone that has hypothermia, like Pierogi here, who needs to go. Don't forget about the corpse overflowing to the farm. True. So let's fix that. Close stalwarts. Doesn't go there either. Did I flip-flop this? Close pilgrims. Pilgrims are allowed. Stalwarts are not. I think I reversed it somehow. That looks right. Oh man, it's still so cold. -88. Come on, fire spread. One thing I will have to make sure of is any time I have a random pilgrim grab the Molotovs, if they use a biocutter weapon, the biocutter weapon will end up in the, like, waste pile unless I forbid it. So I'll just have to continually remind myself to make sure that doesn't happen. I also have the northern path as a valid entryway to the base for raiders, and I think that will replace the other path, because it's longer and we walk it commonly, so it makes sense to keep it. Where is your bolt action? There it is. So this is not one of our weapons. For a second I thought it was Wishbringer's firearm, and I was like, no! Not into the water. And we're still waiting on the styling station. We have not been doing a good job of keeping up with our fuel and supplies, I think. Was double walling the tunnels discussed? So there's not really a point in double walling the tunnels unless I intend to heat the tunnels. Double walling only really works when you have an active heat source, and I don't have active heat sources for them, so there's really not a point. Now the only spots where that might make sense in the future is if I intend to keep these tunnels warmed. But I'm not keeping them warmed. I don't have anything outside the base warmed at the moment, so. If we do find ourselves with a lot of steel and a lot of power, it might make sense to have heated tunnels so that we can mine out to the remote regions of the base without having to worry about hypothermia, but I don't think that will be anytime soon. I think it's reasonable to say it's still too expensive to consider. Alright, come on, Zeusin. Get this done by the end of the stream. Yeah, we have a lot of look change desires, so hopefully we'll get some iron mining going with fish pick or cardinal and be able to offer them, and I think it's probably the tattoos, offer them the ability to lose their faction tattoos because they don't want them. At some point, I need an extra energy source. Man, you should read the details. The TLDR is, the theme of this series is there is only one power source. That's like the biggest part of this run, to put it bluntly. If there was one defining factor, it would be like, or two defining factors, it's cold and there's one power source. That is this entire run in a nutshell. So what was the, so if you're curious, Zeusin has leveled up to 13 crafting in the process of making the second heavy SMG. Which slightly changes the chance for, Masterwork Plus. Not by much, but slightly. We are still just barely keeping the wood-fired arc running, which isn't great. The volcanic winter, despite the fact that the winter's almost over, the volcanic winter that we've got slapped with is keeping the external temperatures so low that it's not all that reasonable to try to go haul stone or anything else to make use of the cold temps. There's also still a bunch of corpses yet to be dealt with littered around the map, and that's in large part because it's just too cold to go out there. It's too risky. So as much as I would like to remove those corpses, I think I'm just going to make the conscious choice of waiting until ambient temps are reasonable. Alright, Susan. You're leaving me hanging. There's only 48 work left. Come on, just wake up and finish it. Another thing we could do to reduce fuel usage is let's turn on automatic refuel of coal for this campfire, just to try to alleviate the amount of heat that the heaters have to produce. Because some of the heaters have turned off as a result. With that in mind, I have an excess of power right now, so maybe that wasn't all that necessary. Would I consider putting NPM needles near the deep drill sites? I could. The opposite effect could... So here's my thought process for questions like that. If I did that, there's nothing really stopping people, once they run out of meals locally, from running all the way out for meals at the drill sites. So, while it sounds like a nice shortcut, it can have the exact opposite effect, causing people to run out an extraordinarily far distance, possibly risking hypothermia and the loss of fingers and ears and toes for a meal, meaning ultimately I don't think it's worth it. I did only get an excellent heavy SMG, but still, happy to have another excellent one, I guess. So, who's getting it? Probably Pierogi? Yeah. In an ideal world, I would not even have NPMs waiting. It would only be through the nutrient paste dispenser. And I would only offer meals during recreation or free time. Or something like that. To limit the amount of back and forth running that the pawns do to try to get a meal, so that meals aren't available outside of mealtime. I did play around with timed switches. Power switches that turn on and off through scheduling, but it had bugs and I didn't really like how it worked, so I didn't end up using those mods for that reason. But the reason that would be ideal is I don't want people to have... if they had to use their recreation and free time to get meals, that would limit the amount of time they walk away from, like, mining sites, which would be very, very useful. Right, let's get rice back on. And get our research back running. I don't think I'm going to make it this stream. I'm so close to getting fab, though. But all of the inspirations pulling us away from research delayed that. I really thought Zeusen would have finished that. You know what? Just wake back up. 4 work left, just do it. Having her continually tailor new things, and I do see that we're very low on cloth now, but having her continually tailor new things, one of the advantages is her crafting skill goes up, and then the quality of the things that she makes will go up. Something that I have thought about, which will be tricky later on, is that armor in RimWorld, generally speaking, is not very insulating. So when it comes to defending our base late game, we can either wear armor or be warm, but both is going to be relatively challenging to achieve, which is adds an interesting layer of complexity, which is like, do you want to be able to fight, or do you want to be able to not freeze, and you can only pick one. And welcome, yet another raid. Another person playing Wilds. Okay. It's like deja vu all over again. I hope your hunting went well today. We're almost up to another portion of iron, allowing us to get the styling bench, but not quite yet. And Treebor, thank you for not only the raid, but the resub. At this point, I only want Zeusen researching. And maybe I'll try to keep the stream going slightly over time to try to finally get fabrication, but I don't know. We'll see. The Ark has a little over a day of power left, which is not great, not terrible. We still are contending with both... I mean, the Ice Age is permanent, obviously, but the volcanic winter, which has been around 9 days, and the ambient temperature, despite the fact that it's the first of spring, is still like negative 80 Celsius. That means we really can't go wandering around outside. We would die. You hope Frostwardens been treating me well? Yeah. I mean, I'm not dead, but I would say in the scheme of things, I've had a lot of bad luck this stream. I've just managed it well, for whatever that's worth. And finally, fabrication done. So the last thing I'm going to do this stream is to plan the fab bench. So we have the advanced components. I have 3 advanced components, and 2 of them are going to go into the fabrication bench, which is why I want to rush advanced fabrication so I can start. Because if my fabrication bench breaks and I run out of advanced components, I'm very screwed. It's essentially a game over situation. So I definitely want to get advanced fabrication ASAP. For advanced fabrication, we're going to need a shelf of plasteel. So this will be for steel. This will be for components. This will be for advanced components. Plasteel. And gold. And I don't have a ton of those resources on hand, but I do have deep drill sites for both gold and plasteel, meaning that once I get advanced fabrication research done, advanced components becomes a relatively renewable resource, and we can start using that for, you know, high-tech stuff. But the fabrication bench is going to be really handy, I think. The other thing is we'll probably want to pair that with, like, power switching, so they can switch it on and off at will. So I'm going to run a power switch here instead of cable. And then also probably put that on lights and another heat source, which I know really increases the steel count. Now, I don't have enough steel for the heat source yet, but we will. And then we'll have a, you know, a fabrication room that will be able to handle all the needs of the colony, which is slowly becoming better armed. We're replacing, like, revolvers with heavy SMGs, and maybe at some point we'll manage to get, like, flak? I don't really know about flak, because it's not very insulating, but something like that. But yeah, hitting that fabrication milestone is really great. So the current priority is build the fabrication, build the fabricator, and build up steel stocks. And this, friends, is where I am going to leave off for today. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, which originally streamed live on Twitch March 2nd. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Frostwardens.